Hello, once again, everyone. I'm your host, Ray Shasho. Welcome to another edition of Interviewing Legends, brought to you by the Rockstar Chronicles, Series 1, my new book featuring over 45 intimate conversations with the greatest music legends the world will ever know. It's available now at bookbaby.com and amazon.com. Chuck Wright is an American bassist, songwriter, singer, music producer, and live event producer, best known for a longtime member of the multi-platinum heavy metal band Quiet Riot. He originally joined Quiet Riot in 1982, playing bass on the tracks Metal Health and Don't Wanna Let You Go, as well as singing background vocals on all the tracks from the 1983 multi-platinum album Metal Health. World-renowned bassist Chuck Wright, who has worked alongside everyone from Alice Cooper to Slash to Greg Allman and toured the globe as a longtime member of rockers Quiet Riot, steps into the spotlight with his first ever solo album. The album includes contributions from 40 guest performers, including members of Mr. Big, Skid Row, Tesla, Dream Theater, Jane's Addiction, Asia, Jefferson Starship, and so many other acclaimed solo artists, and many, many others. Wright exhibits a diversity and breadth of musical styles that make this one of the most unique and exciting hard rock releases of the year. Please welcome singer, songwriter, producer, and legendary Quiet Riot bassist Chuck Wright to Interviewing the Legends. Hello, Chuck.
Hey, how are you doing? Good.
I'm doing good, man. Me and you are about the same age. I was born January 1959.
I guess we're in the same general area, so we kind of grew up listening to the real music.
Exactly right.
The 70s was, I think, the best era of music. I'd say from like 68 to, late 70s was the best era for music. That's when guys got into a room and wrote songs together and recorded together. And now, it's a different world. It's a digital world, which actually was good for me because I was able to, because of the pandemic, I was able to work with guys all over the country and actually the world too. I had somebody from Japan also work on it.
I just talked to Adrian Ballou yesterday.
Oh, great.
We were talking about growing up with AM radio, and that was everything to us. Not the phone, AM radio, transistor radios. That was our thing, And music was everything back then.
Yeah, definitely. It was the thing that kids miss today, or just everybody misses today, really, is being able to go to a record store and you go through and actually see the artwork.
Exactly.
Big. And also, I had a guy when I was early high school at a store that he realized what I was into, which was great.
Right.
He goes, "You got to get this magazine. It's called Melody Maker.
Mm-hmm.
It's a newspaper from England, and it had all these cool bands like Humble Pie and Yes." And when I wasn't driving. I didn't have a license yet. I was 15. My friend was driving, and we were going down Sunset Boulevard, and the Whiskey's marquee said, "Yes, $5." And I said, "I heard that band's really good. Let's go check them out." And because of that, I went from being a Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, huge, that's the kind of music I was into getting into progressive rock music because of seeing Yes, that wow, I can't believe you're able to do that.
Yeah, we bought albums based on the album covers too. I remember buying, like Camel, Mirage. I thought that was cool.
Right.
A cool
How about
concept.
The King Crimson one.
King Crimson, exactly.
Yeah.
Supertramp with the bars,
Right.
in front of the
King
cover.
Crimson album, I actually, in my 10th grade class, my English class did a thing on 21st Century Schizoid Man, brought the album in, and my teacher was blown away. She made the class listen to the whole thing.
Very cool. That was a hit.
The lyrics, Pete Sinfield's lyrics are amazing. They're poetic and not your typical song lyric by any stretch.
Yeah, I love lyrics like that. I really do. That's why, I'm a big prog guy, as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I love prog
I hope
music.
you like some of those elements on my new album because they're sprinkled throughout.
Talking about your new album, I'm going to say this honestly and sincere. This could be the album of the year for me so far. That I swear, man, this is a fantastic album.
Can I get that quote? Can you send me that quote?
I'll send you the quote, man. I'm telling you, I've reviewed a lot of albums this year, and this is the best. Producing, fantastic, which I think you did. Engineering was incredible. The sound was awesome. I love the album, man. It's called Sheltering Sky. I'm gonna go through a couple of few tracks with you on this as well. The Weight of Silence. Okay, that features That's a bit prog rock. It sounded a little bit like Pink Floyd in a way, didn't it?
Yeah, there is a little bit of a story behind that song that I'd
Okay.
like to share with you.
Right.
Um, when the pandemic hit, I was sitting there and I'm looking around at the world, and it felt apocalyptic. There's like, empty streets everywhere. Nobody's out. It was like, everybody was gone. And it
Right.
was so I sat down and wrote that music myself. I recorded everything myself. I edited together a video showing drone footage of empty cities like New York City, Las Vegas, Rome, and it kind of had a very ominous, spooky vibe to it. Well, my friend of mine named Troy Lucetta from the band Tesla,
Right.
he called me and goes, "Man, I love that song. It'd be great with drums on it." I go, "I've never thought about that, but sure." And he has his studio. He put drums on it.
Hmm.
Then Alan Hines, who's a phenomenal jazz fusion guitar player here in LA, sells out wherever he plays. He said, "Hey, I'll put some guitar on it." So he put some just soloing, and I edited that together. And then my friend Derek Sherinian from Dream Theater, you know him, and he has
Yeah.
tons of solo records out. His new one, Vortex, is killer. And he put some Mellotron and theremin and set. So it built, and I re-edited that together and put that out. And just a couple days ago, I found out it won Best Instrumental and Best Video in the Rock Music Alliance Awards. And I was up against Joe Satriani and John Five and all these
Wow.
people. And I honestly didn't even know I was nominated. I didn't
Yeah.
even know about it. And it kind of took in it right when the album's coming out, that happened, because that was something I put out on my own, but it is
Yeah.
part of my album. It's I book in my album with, it starts with Weight of Silence, the full version, and then it
Hmm.
ends with the very stark
Yeah.
acoustic version of it. It's the album, I feel when I'm listening to it, it feels like it's telling a story.
Hmm.
It's very cinematic, and I never really planned on doing a solo album at all. I was just writing music that I want to listen to,
Well,
this style. So the styles, I'm going from jazz fusion to
yeah.
prog to funk. I've got two killer funk
Yeah.
dudes that are, and then I've got a Celtic piece on there that's,
Exactly.
it's a lot of variety going on.
Yeah. I
And it
called it.
rocks too. I mean, people are
It
going to
does.
expect some rock out of me, of course, because of my history, but yeah.
Some of your fans are saying this too. We're glad you're not in Quiet Riot anymore because you made such an incredible piece of music here. It's
Well, yeah,
a masterpiece.
it's definitely not a Quiet Riot record. It's a totally
Yeah.
different thing. I was actually a writer with
Hmm.
that band. On
Right.
the QR3 album, I was a writer on every song, but there's two songs in particular,
Right.
Twilight Hotel, which we made a video about, and In the Still of the Night. Those are 100% my music
Hmm.
and my ideas and my melodies. And we just decided at the end of that album that, hey, look, let's just all split everything equal. So you don't really know who contributed what, but those two are there's elements of in my album that have some of those elements. It's got
Right.
keyboards. It's a lot more. There's a lot more depth to it than just some bashing chords. Which nothing against bashing chords, because I love playing hard rock live, and I love my 26 years
Hmm.
with Quiet Riot in the live realm. But I really hadn't contributed anything to the band with the other stuff, because it was already done before when I got it. It's like, okay, here's the record, go play bass. So anyway, so I get to step out on my own and I really hope that people listen to this record, and I would love for this to be my legacy, not the first album I ever
Right.
played on. I've done over 100 albums since.
Yeah. I
First
saw
one
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
who would know that the first album you ever record sells 10 million copies? It's
Right.
like, wow, it's been downhill since, everybody. Anyway.
Well, this is a new chapter in your life.
Yes, it is.
It's incredible. Army of Me, which is Bjork, right? It's a Bjork tune.
Yeah, that's a Bjork cover.
Yeah.
And I'll try to tell a quick story about that. Some years back, I was in the studio with my late friend Pat Torpy from Mr. Big, who's
Right.
he was one of my best friends. I miss him very much. And
Yeah.
we would get together with Lanny Cordola, who was in House of Lords with me, and
Right.
we've also done a lot of projects together. We did 7 film scores together. We would get together and write songs and record, and then nothing. We wouldn't go further than the basic tracks.
Mhm.
Well, I stumbled across. I was looking for sound files, and I came across some of some of this music we recorded. One of the songs being "Army of Me," which was just a jam.
It
In fact,
is.
we were talking, yeah, man, I really like that Bjork song. It's got the John Bonham
Yeah.
sample.
Exactly.
So we just jammed on it. And if you listen to my version, I'm not even playing the bass part right. It's close, but it's not what she did. And we kind of did our own thing to it. Lanny's doing like King Crimson type ebos
Right.
through it, kind of more industrial, kind of
Sure.
alt heavy. So what I wanted to finish that, and I go, well, I need the right voice for this song. So I run an event, which I started in 2015 in Hollywood, called Ultimate Jam Night.
Right.
I coordinate between at least 45, and we've had as many as 100 pro musicians,
Mm-hmm.
and it was every week. Now it's twice a month. So anyway, I thought, who would be great? And there's a voice I discovered, a girl named Whitney Ty, who I brought in, and we hit it off so great on every level, intellectually, music song, what we like musically, her favorite bands like Pink Floyd, so's mine,
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Right.
Bands, that ilk. And she delivered such a great vocal. We started working together, and she co-wrote a song with me called Time Waits for No One.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had a song that I've been holding inside forever called Giving Up the Ghost that I
Yeah.
finally recorded. I've been waiting for a time to do that kind of song, and her voice was also perfect for that. And I'm very blessed, again, to have so many great people join me on this. I have
Mm-hmm.
41 guest performers
That's
on it.
incredible, man.
They're friends.
Yeah.
They liked what I was doing. They said, yeah, let me play. And that's kind of how it happened.
I love Whitney. I just put in a request to interview her, by the way.
Yes, you should. She's, you know what?
Yeah.
She's way more articulate than I am.
She's
a
incredible.
brilliant lady. Brilliant. And she's a designer, and she's
Mm-hmm.
a great performer. I think she should be, her original stuff is amazing. Her last album, Apogee, is killer. I think she should be as big as Lady Gaga, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
She's that good. And I'm very lucky. And now we're like super close friends. We talk every day. Her partner, Tim
Mm-hmm.
Jansen, has been super important to me now. They're like family. He actually mixed and co-produced some of the songs on the record.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a cinematographer, editor. He also has won awards as a film scorer. So when you hear some of these songs, they have the depth of, like, you would completely picture them being the underscore for a movie.
Exactly.
And a lot of that comes with us talking about ideas. How can we make this deeper? How can we
Right.
and it's subtle things, but it makes the song sound bigger and more epic.
Well, she's got that kind of haunting voice, kind of like an effervescence, the voice of effervescence.
Definitely. It has an effervescence vibe to it. Especially in Time Waits for No One. Somebody said it sounds like Queensryche. I don't get that, but I definitely get the evanescence correlation to it.
She's incredible, man. I really like her a lot. Yeah. Talk about the other side. What is talk about the meaning behind that track?
Okay, so what happened with that song, I got the phone call. I knew I would get the phone call eventually, but I got the phone call that Frankie had passed. And we've been friends for since 81, whatever that amount of years, a lot of years.
Yeah.
And I played with him for 26 years of my life. And the finality of it all, I picked, right next to me was a 12-string guitar. Mm-hmm. I picked it up. I wrote that whole song top to bottom, one setting, the intricate bridge. I had the chorus, melody, and lyric idea, see you on the other side, all done. And then I said, I got to figure out something for these verses. So I contacted somebody he was just working with named August Young,
right?
In a Zepp trip band called Mr. Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, and he did great. We were back and forth on lyrics and melody, and it came out great. His performance is great. I also reached out to other guys that Frankie had been working with recently, which was Joe Pelletier, played keyboards.
Right.
And then I actually contacted Mr. Jimmy himself, Jimmy Sakurai in Japan, and he did some guitar work. There's actually 5 guitar players on this, and I play acoustic on pretty much every song on the album.
Yeah.
And I'm playing keyboards on things and embellishing things with sounds, and I'm just, I have the time because of the pandemic to just, I was so busy between weekend flyouts with Quiet Riot and running Ultimate Jam Night that there was just no time to just sit back and reflect and just write. I was writing music for art's sake. It was just totally that. And I think that comes across on the album, that there's no like, okay, I got to be this. It's got to be exactly these kind of thing. Otherwise, I don't care. It's just what I like to listen to. So
I had Frankie on the show, man. We talked for a long time. He was such a great guy. You know, he was so positive. You know, he says, I don't know why the doctor's telling me I only have this amount of time to live. I feel great. I feel
Well,
fine.
it's
You
hard.
know?
I mean, the guys at East Coast hardcore Italian, it's hard to hold those guys back, hold those guys down.
Yeah.
But he's one of the most driven individuals I've ever met. And I had a really hard time keeping up with him. You've never seen anybody in your life walk through an airport as fast as him. That's for sure. But, he was down in like 5 Red Bulls a day. He's part of it. But he wore a lot of hats. He was the manager.
Yeah.
He was the tour manager.
Yep.
He oversaw anything that had to do with Quiet Riot. He even had alerts on his computer. If somebody anywhere in media, anywhere, used the term Quiet Riot, he got notified and he would find out what it was about.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know I know he worked with Billy Idol with he was on Moni Moni, I think.
Well, a lot of
right?
people
Yeah.
don't know that
Yeah.
the Moni Moni connection. And
Yeah.
I actually did a little spotlight for him a couple of years back at Ultimate Jam Night,
Right.
and had him come down and feature. We did some songs that most people don't know. My favorite album that he's ever played on is called Hughes Thrall Project.
Right.
With Glenn Hughes and Pat
Glenn
Thrall.
Hughes. Yeah.
His drumming on that is amazing. I mean, that's a very good example of
Mhm.
how diverse of a drummer he really is. Most people don't know. Him and I would always talk about jazz fusion artists like
Mhm.
Weather Report, Jaco Pastorius, and all that.
Yep. Yep.
He's totally into that kind of thing. He loves progressive rock music. So do I.
Yep.
You couldn't have that conversation with Kevin DeBro. Kevin just is a rocker, But he
Yeah.
like the old school, like Humble Pie, Rod Stewart.
Right.
His biggest influences are those two individuals were.
Yeah. Yeah. He was
But
a
anyway,
good
that's
guy.
how back to what you were asking.
Yeah.
See you on the other side. I mean,
Right.
it made me think about everybody I've lost. My mom,
Mhm. Mhm.
like Pat Torpy, my best friend when I was on the road in 2005 blew his head off because he had diabetes, and they said, we're going to have to take your leg. He goes, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And I got the call and went, what? He was like he's the guy that drove me to see Yes for $5 when I was 15,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
The guys I went to shows with and party with,
Yeah.
and my best friends too, they're all gone, man. My
Yes,
best friend, he killed himself. He suicide.
so you can
You
see,
know.
so that's how I think this song, See You on the Other Side,
Yeah.
is there's a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's part of the hope.
Yeah.
That's in the cover. If you, this has to do with what we're talking about.
Right.
The album cover, I'm a graphic designer and I had a bunch of ideas, but
Yeah.
the best guy in the business is my very close friend named Glenn Wexler, who's
Right.
done Van Halen and Kiss and
Yeah.
Rush and on and on and on. I would send him tracks as I was working on it all the time, and he goes, I'd love to do your album cover. I go, great. So what we have is basically a symbol of death, which is a vulture, but he's lifting out
Yeah.
of the desolation.
Yeah.
So
Great cover. Beautiful cover.
So it kind of
Yeah.
is like you were saying. You like to look at a cover, and that'll make
Yeah.
you want to get it. But
Exactly.
it's basically it's a hopeful cover. It's a hopeful image.
Isn't it tough, guys our age, and we're losing so many friends? I mean, we're not that old.
Well, that happens. I mean, I'm glad we're still around, and
Yeah.
I've lost. Janie Lane and I toured together too. I mean,
Right.
there's an example. I have a lot of examples of guys that I've worked with,
Yeah.
friends and family. Too. Losing my mom was the toughest. That was back in '91, but
I just lost my dad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
I never knew my dad, so
Hmm.
that's a whole other. That should be if I ever write a book, the story
You need to.
finding about my father
Right.
is a long story, but it's because I thought he died when I was 2. But anyway,
Yeah.
the story behind all that is
Yep.
crazy.
Wow.
Anyway,
Well,
So,
you need to write
yes.
a book.
yeah,
You
I
really
mean, I
do.
worked with a lot, between Alice Cooper, Greg Allman,
Yeah.
and all the different bands in the early days in the '80s.
Yeah.
Craziness with, we were playing at the Whiskey as Dubrow, which became the Mental Health
Hmm.
record, opening for Motley Crue, and it was sold out 2 shows in a row, and neither one of us had a record deal.
Yeah.
But you could feel that that's what was happening.
Sure.
This is, even though all the Knack and the Motels and all the skinny, tight,
Yeah.
short hair guys were the new wave bands were the
Right.
talk of everything. All of a sudden, there's this undercurrent happening, and I think "Come On, Feel the Noise" blew the doors open for all the guys with, all the hair bands. I mean, all the labels wanted to sign them.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever see Slade in concert?
I had, yeah,
I did too.
I saw Slade open for, I forgot who they opened for, but I just remember a lot of glittery clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure they love going to their mailbox to get that royalty check.
Sure.
Come on, Feel the Noise. I mean, I go to a baseball game and I hear that song.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
The song that won't go away.
Yeah.
You know,
Noddy Holder. He was a cool guy.
that's the guy, Noddy Holder. He had the
Noddy
hat
Holder.
and
Yeah.
glittery outfit. Yeah.
Remember the guitar player always had those bangs, the very strange bangs.
Yeah. Well, so do the guys in the suite too. That was
Yeah.
kind of
The glamour
for
thing.
that kind of band,
Yeah.
It's a glam rock vibe.
Exactly. Well, thank you for, doing a track for Ukraine, man. It's so horrible what's going on over there.
Well,
Throwing stones,
The thing, what I did do, no, I got to backtrack on that song
Okay.
in a second, but what I did do for what's a little amount I could do, because
Yeah.
I have this event, Ultimate Jam Night,
Right.
we decided with my team of people that we should do a benefit for the World Central Kitchen that was
Yeah.
they get meals to all the refugees. And
Very cool.
so,
Very cool.
So we did a charity for that. We actually had a family that had only been in town for I think not even 2 weeks, that their home was bombed out and they had to come. They got relocated to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We brought them on stage. The father talked, and their little 7-year-old sang "We Are the World,"
Oh, man.
like a verse chorus
Wow.
of it. And,
Very nice.
yeah, not a dry eye in the house.
Wow. Incredible,
But anyway,
man.
my new single, which is "Throwing Stones,"
Yep.
was actually lyrically, and the vocals were written by Joe Retta, who sings.
Joe Retta.
Joey,
Heaven
Joey
and Hell.
Martinelli.
Heaven and Earth. Yeah.
Yeah. Heaven and Earth's a project we did together, but he was in Dio Disciples. He
Right.
The Suite,
Yep. The
Trans-Siberian
Suite.
Orchestra.
That's right.
He's an amazing singer and can sing all styles.
Yep.
Like he could do Dio, and then he could do like somebody compared Throwing Stones to Primus meets Stevie Wonder. He could sing like Stevie Wonder. So,
Yeah.
so he wrote the lyric. It's an anti-war message. It's about, the message in the song is how long will it until we learn.
Right.
It's like as humans, we started throwing stones at each other, and now we're launching missiles at each other. It continues. It's all about power. It's all about it's taking somebody's land from them, which is going on now because they've they've got all this agriculture, and hey, I'm just going to take it because my gun's bigger than your gun. Basically.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, but he wrote this before the Russian invasion. It was last year, the end of last year. He came up with I sent him the music. I go, hey Joe, mess around with this, see what you come up with, and he blew me away. And his first rough that he sent me, I kept most of it.
Mhm.
I mean, he goes, okay, now I'll sing it for real. The rough was amazing. My theory is if it's not broke, why fix it, right?
Yeah, exactly
There were
right.
things in it because he was just going for it. He wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
So anyway, when it came time to do a second video after the Army of Me video,
Right.
I thought about it and I go, this song has so much energy, and I actually get to show off a little bit as a bass player, and the message is perfect for sad serendipity, right? That
That's right.
happens to be perfect for today.
Who did the video?
Well, a friend of mine named I've just told you about, who actually mixed the song, Tim.
Okay.
Jefferson.
All right.
Yeah,
he did a great job.
Him, I produce it and I oversee it. I directed
Right.
it and produced the Army of Me video with him
Right.
as well. And yeah, he's fantastic. I'm blessed to have him. I don't know if you saw the 1 minute trailer I have. It's
did.
like we put
Yeah.
together, it's like a movie trailer, and I'm trying, all I can do, I'm trying to give the label as much ammunition as possible,
Mhm.
because for me, I just want people to hear it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want this to be my legacy. Like I said, it's not about, oh yeah, I'm going to go to the bank or whatever. It's about
Yeah, sure.
sharing this with people, because I've kind of been, people that don't know my whole, catalog, where I've like co-produced 2 reggae records, and I did ambient trance, and I produced a dog from Cypress Hill. I've done some
Right.
country records. I was in a flamenco group for 2 years.
Really?
People don't know
Yeah.
all the different things I've done. They just pigeonholed me as, oh, he's that rock guy from Quiet Riot, or that
Exactly.
rock guy from House of Lords, or
Exactly.
Jafria,
Yeah.
or Ted Nugent, or whoever.
Right.
But that's not really what I'm about at all. I love
Yeah.
playing that stuff, and it's fun to play live. There's no doubt about it. I have a great time. But musically, that's not really what I listen to or what I'm into, and what I like to.
That's
Yeah.
why I consider this the album of the year.
Well,
Because I noticed all these things.
yeah, it's well, who knows? I mean, with the bass, I like have three basses on a couple songs,
Uh-huh.
because I can.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like instead of a guitar fill, it's a nice fretless Pino
Right.
Palladino type of thing, passage
Yeah.
part. And
Exactly.
it's I had no reins on me. Like some guys are when you make a record, I have done
Right.
with bands, you had to stay within certain parameters
Yep.
and like I just whatever felt good and sounds good. I'm all about
Yeah.
whatever the end product is. I don't have any kind of
Sure.
ego about anything. If somebody else can play the bass parts,
Yeah.
great. But I
Exactly.
love doing all that.
Well, that's
And
good attitude
actually
to have. Yeah.
on Way to Silence, I'm playing all the guitars, but I thought it could be reinforced. So I brought in a great flamenco player named Ben Woods,
Huh.
and he reinforced my guitar. So,
Awesome. Well, next
that's
track, Giving Up the Ghost, which has Whitney again, which I love. It's a beautiful track. Very,
thank you.
very, very cool track.
One of my favorite songs
Yeah.
on the record. And like I said, I held that back
Yep.
for a long time. And it's basically about I know people, and I've been guilty of it too, that like, let's say if a relationship breaks up or you lose something that's important, you
Mm-hmm.
hold on to that
Mm-hmm.
for so long that it interferes with your growth.
Yeah.
So basically the song's about giving up the ghost. It's another song of hope. Basically, it's like, you just got to let it go and move on.
Beautiful
And
song.
that's what I'm doing with my situation is, hey, I'm
Yep.
off to my next chapter in my
Exactly.
life,
Sure.
which
There's a lot of there's a lot of legends like you that are doing other things now, and they love doing it,
I don't think I'm a legend, but
well,
although I do play with a band called the Legends of Classic Rock. I do. The guy, the founding member of White Line, Greg D'Angelo,
Yep.
and Terry Luce from Great White,
Yep.
and the keyboard player that played with Ozzy when Randy was alive.
Yeah.
We have a thing that we do. We get together and do songs from our catalog.
Yep. Pretty soon you'll be in Ringo's All-Star Band.
I would love that. Greg Bissonette's a good friend. I've done like at least 6 albums with Greg.
Yep.
He plays drums with Ringo. What an honor for him. He's such a hardcore Beatle fan. He had a band called the Four Lads of the Valley,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to play every week doing Beatles songs.
Yeah.
And then here he finds himself playing with Ringo.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
talk about
I mentioned to
right place.
Greg Raleigh, a long time ago, because he had a large band, and it was hard to take around, on tour, and it cost money and this and that and whatever. And I said, man, you should be in Ringo's band, And sure enough, a couple of years later, he's in
I
Ringo's
had dinner
band.
with Greg once. He's great, really great guy.
Nice guy, yeah, he's
super
cool.
nice. He has some good stories that I can't tell on air
Yeah,
about his time with Santana.
right.
Anyways,
Yeah, he told me how they met, which was interesting. Did he tell you that story about how him and Carlos met, running from the cops?
oh really?
Yeah,
That doesn't surprise me though.
that was pretty cool. Moving on, of course, Time Waits for No One, another Whitney gem. She's
Well, that's the one she co-wrote with me. And
yeah.
That song, when I finished writing it, the music, I didn't realize it was only 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
So
funny.
I added some atmospherics, like 30 seconds of atmospherics, and she's scat vocaling through it. It's very moody, and it sets up the song perfectly.
Beautiful.
And that's another song. Really, it was an instrumental,
Mm-hmm.
and I had bass doing melodies as when I was just jamming before I decided to do it with vocals. But that's another example. I found out that the drummer in my very first band died, right? And that's hence the title, Time Waits for No One.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was the title of the song when it was an
Right.
instrumental. And then I said, I have a title to Whitney. I go, but I don't have any vocals. I have the chorus idea,
Right.
which she ends with, and that's all and then she created the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's so cool. I really like her a lot. Yeah. Here's if it's possible to have a new genre, I think you just invented it. How about jazz metal? And it never fails with Jeff Scott Soto. I call it jazz metal or jazz hard rock or fusion metal.
The song is real. It's one of the heavy. There's only 2, maybe 3 songs I'd consider heavy
Right.
on the album.
Right.
But that song is really funky. I mean, I added on the verses. I got a hold of my friend Dave Schulz,
Mm-hmm.
who plays with the Goo Goo Dolls and
Right.
Berlin and all these people. But he has a soul group, and I know I wanted to have like a trampled underfoot Led Zeppelin clavinet thing going on in that thing. So I got a hold of him and I said, hey, I played clavinet.
Right.
I'm not great at it. I go, I'm going to let somebody do it that does it better than me. So I got a hold of him and he did it. But I think it's a heavy funk. Another like Throwing Stones is a heavy funk tune.
Right.
And Scotty Hill does a killer. Scotty from Skid Row does a killer guitar solo in the middle. But for the beginning and the end, I wanted to do something trippier, so I added lap steel like Pink Floyd kind of thing. But it's a heavy part.
It is. It is.
And the chorus is heavy. And Eric Martin from Mr. Big is singing backgrounds and doing some scat singing in it.
Yeah. Good track. Good tune.
It's pretty thick.
Yeah,
that's another one with Pat Torpey on it, by the way.
Yeah.
That
really?
found.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, it was a song that was out there that was never finished. So
yeah, I know Jesse Colin Young. I've had him on the show several times.
Oh wow, I can't wait for what. Hopefully he'll like my interpretation.
You've got to, and I can send it to him if you want. I know his PR.
Well, as long as he doesn't like come after me.
Are you kidding me? What it's with the Celtic opening.
Yeah. You know what the thing, if you want to tell him, say, maybe just a nitbit about who I am,
right?
That ever since I saw them, the Youngbloods, as a young kid, I was 15 or so. I think Quicksilver. Oh, you know who it was? It was Quicksilver or the Youngbloods first. I remember.
Right.
Quicksilver, the Youngbloods, and Lee Michaels was the headliner.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know who Lee Michaels is, but he was just a B3 player with a drum.
That's right.
Frosty. Yeah. Would You Be Happy, Would You Be Sad, I think was one of his songs. It's a great song. But that's how I first started to learn drums, is I would play those whole albums playing drums. But I didn't become a drummer because I didn't want to set up all that stuff.
Right.
Anyway, yeah. So please tell him that you heard a version, because I know other people. Robert Plant covered it, which I was kind of disappointed in his version. So I decided to go full on. Let's do a Braveheart version of it. I have 3 drummers on this thing.
Yeah.
All playing toms. I have an acoustic band in town called Acoustic Saints. We have violin, mandolin, acoustic guitars, and all that. And I play fretless with that band. And I got a hold of Rick, our violin player, and I said, "Hey man, I've got this in Celtic song," and he kills it. I mean, he's a brilliant Jean-Luc Ponty level guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays guitar like Eric Johnson too. We do an Eric Johnson tune on acoustic, but and he just did the fiddle stuff, because there's that famous melody in Darkness, Darkness. But the lyric, again, it's another kind of heavy, dark lyric to it,
It's a movie soundtrack. It's a movie soundtrack. It really is.
Well, I think it should be. I mean, let's hope that like Outlander or somebody picks it up and uses it. It'll make him some money anyway. But I'd like him to. I would love for him to hear it.
With your permission, I will send it to him.
Please tell him I've been a fan since they first came out. I saw him when I was, I think, 15 maybe.
Oh, he's a good guy. Jesse's a great guy.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And I love his voice. I mean,
God,
so great.
Somebody put me on music facts or something like that, song facts or whatever in the internet. Because when we did an interview together, they explained that the song was written in New York, and he drew inspiration. But I found out he drew inspiration from KSAN in San Francisco, which played a lot of unusual music, and that's how he got the inspiration for that song, Darkness.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I liked his his song of peace, because that was the Vietnam era, and and he goes, "Come on, people, now smile on your brother." I mean, that's what the world lacks now so much, is empathy for people. It's like everybody has, and I don't want to go on a soapbox here, but now with the internet, everybody has their own platform to just go off.
They do.
And there's a I won't say the name, but there's a website that a lot of people read, and when you get anything on it, there's a huge line of guys to try to do each other, insulting the person that they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just sad. I mean,
it is sad.
You guys are so freaking mean. I mean, one guy said, "Oh, it's a 4th rate B. This guy has no," just going. I'm going, dude, you don't even know me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten some hate mail on YouTube as well for no reason, Yeah,
I know YouTube too. What I'm saying is that people have a platform for their chip on their shoulder.
They do.
About, and whenever I've looked up like you can find out who these people are now, so
Really?
yeah, YouTube, you can click on
Yeah.
and find out who. Anyway,
I don't even respond,
it's always
it's
a wannabe musician who's in his
right.
mother's basement on the computer because he's still living in his home at 25 or 30 or 40,
Yeah.
whatever he is. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
what I've discovered. I don't pay attention to any of it,
No,
you know.
no, it's not worth it. Getting into
No,
an argument and all that's crap.
no, I don't want
Hey,
to. I mean, you can get into it now. They'll, as much as you try,
yep,
they don't. They'll take every word negatively. Yeah, it's like whatever,
exactly. Yeah, exactly
But
right. I think
so
Facebook has cleaned up a little bit because there used to be like, I mean, wars over politics, and now I don't even
well,
see it
that's because
anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait till the next election.
Uh,
You know? I mean, come on. You know what I always say about that? I go, listen, I belong to the party of common sense.
Common
And,
sense, exactly.
there
Yeah.
should be a party called the Common Sense Party
Right.
because if it makes sense to me, then that's the way I'm going to go. I don't care
Sure.
who's coming up with the idea.
Right.
It's about if it's good for everybody and it's good for the situation and not for somebody in the 1% that's can put
Right.
that in their pocket. It's like,
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Let's just vote for Alice Cooper. How's that?
huh?
Let's just
What
vote
is
for Let's vote for Alice Cooper,
Yeah,
next
he's
president.
a nice guy. I worked with him. I toured
Yeah.
with him. I was hanging out with him all the time.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's
A
great.
lot of people don't know he's a good Christian too.
Yeah, I'd rather vote for him than Ted Nugent, who I've worked with as well.
Yeah, I know.
He's a little bit he's a little bit hardcore.
A little bit. Yeah, I've heard your story about him, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I probably shouldn't have said that one. You mean on the podcast recently
Yeah. About the
about the recording?
yeah.
Whatever. That's
She showing you pictures of animals he's killed and
Yeah, I mean, he had this little
yeah.
kid holding up a ram's head, and it was just.
I don't see. I could never be a hunter because I love animals so
Me too.
much.
It's a weird mindset, but he
Yeah.
says to quantify it, I eat what I kill.
Yeah, exactly. And he's
I
doing
go,
good for the
"You eat
population.
hamburgers, right?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, I sit in a tree for 3 days
Yeah, I
with my
know.
bow and arrow waiting for that deer
Yeah.
to show up."
I know. I got a good friend that does the same thing. He hunts and everything.
I know someone that does
Yeah.
that too, and he's a hardcore Christian guy, and
Right.
he's also like his wife's on the Facebook holding an M16. I'm going, and you guys are hardcore Christians. I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't understand. Anyway, I don't want to get into that whole thing.
I would when I was a kid. Me and my best friend at the time, we were really young. We threw a baseball. We were playing catch at a park, and we threw a
Right.
baseball into a pen, and they had all this pen full of deer because they were protecting them from hunters and things like that.
Oh,
So we threw the ball in there on purpose so we can go get it. They let us in the pen, and there must have been like 50 deer. And ever since that day, they came up to you. They would lick the salt off your
yeah, they're
face.
sweet.
They're sweet animals.
I got to tell you right now, you can't see it. I put this thing up in the way because of the reflection.
Right.
But right there, I have 6 squirrels that come to me every day. They all have a name.
Right.
Yeah, there's one called Rip Ear because somebody ripped his ear.
Oh man.
Anyway, and I give them peanuts and walnuts, and actually my girlfriend puts vitamins on their food.
Very cool.
And
Very
we have
cool.
special food for there's a little dove family that lives in my tree.
That is so
And,
cool.
and I have the birds. It's nice. That's my nature. And we have 2 crows out there.
Yeah.
They come every day. It's Edgar and Alan Crow.
Oh.
And the best is to watch. You throw a peanut out, and the squirrel gets it down on the grass here, and then runs and hides it. But a crow's on the ground watching him. And then
Yeah.
as soon as the squirrel leaves, he walks over and gets the peanut. It happens all the time.
That is so cool. I just
Yeah,
interviewed
so-
Ann Wilson, her new album,
Oh,
Fierce Bliss. And one of the tracks on the album is about her watching, sitting there by the water, watching the birds fly in and fly out. And like they have a story, the birds,
Sure.
they came from somewhere. They're all
Yeah.
sitting around talking, and I mean, I love that,
yeah. We look forward to it. It's like my girlfriend says, "This is the light in my day." Is
Uh-huh.
their sweet innocent faces, and you just hand the little peanut, and they just
Yeah.
take it so softly.
Exactly.
It's great. It's a nice. That's my nature's right there. But,
That's very cool.
yeah.
The next track, you got into country, didn't you? Cradle the Sun?
Well, again, this is a song. I wasn't intending a solo record, right? I'm just jamming. And I kind of like Zeppelin got into that. They had one album where it was a lot of folky kind of things on it, and
Yes.
it has
Yeah,
that
that's
kind of
true.
vibe. And it actually, the song almost didn't get on the record because I'm going, I don't know, it's so
I
different, so
like it.
odd. But I said, hey, let's put it on. But something really odd with this song is that I had the vocal melody Lorelei in my head.
Right.
Lorelei, don't you hear me calling?
Yeah,
In my
exactly.
head,
Yeah.
not knowing the Greek mythology of Lorelei. Lorelei, if you look, somebody told me to go, do you
Right.
even know what Laura, you know why? That's no, what they said was, that's really cool that you used the Greek mythology Lorelei for your song. And I go, what are you talking about? And I looked it up on Wikipedia, and it was a mermaid that around this, I forgot which area in Greece or someplace that, or maybe it was in Scotland or someplace, I can't
Uh-huh.
remember,
Right.
but where the ships, they would call the ships in, like her
Right.
voice would call the ships in to crash, you know. So
Huh.
I went, wow, that's interesting. And
Yeah.
that name just came into my head. And again, I got a hold of what I wanted to do with the song was kind of go for a Alison Krauss, Robert Plant
Yep.
vibe. And so I got a hold of August Young, who's most like that style, and he's
Right.
the one on See You on the Other Side.
Right.
And I finished writing the song with him. We worked out the verses together, and I said, here's the chorus, but I want to kind of do a gospel-y big chorus on the thing, you know. And I brought in Shelley Bonet, who's an amazing bluesy,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like a duet, like the way Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. So there's two lead singers on it, and I got pedal steel, and then I brought in the guitar player that did the solo, because I just didn't want to do, okay, so you have lap steel going on, then a lap steel solo. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to take it to a different place, and the bridge has some very interesting chord changes that
Mm-hmm.
aren't really folky at all. They're more jazzy.
Right.
And so I brought in Jake Fawn, who had been playing with David Lee Roth, to do the guitar work on that solo, because I wanted something like that. I wanted
Yeah.
something more that vibe to it, and that song came out great. I'm really happy with that.
This thing could make the country charts.
Well, yeah, who knows?
Who knows,
I mean,
right?
I just hope people hear it.
Yeah.
It'd be great if somebody in country radio go, "Wow, what's this?" And
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I know the Oak Ridge Boys. You want me to send it to them?
yeah, hey, check this song out.
I think I will.
Great.
All right, you ended this album, this fantastic, fantastic album, beautifully with two incredible instrumentals. I mean, you got Farewell Horizon, you got The Weight of Silence. Farewell Horizon, there's a little bit of Jeff Beck like in that. You
Dude,
know,
you nailed it. I asked you nailed it. I said, I wrote the song. That's the only song I wrote on bass, where I had all these chord changes on bass. I'm doing, there's I think 3 basses on that one too. And I got a hold of Toshi Unagi, who is Jimmy Kimmel. You've seen the Jimmy Kimmel show. He's the house guitar player.
right?
And he has solo albums out, and I go see his jazz fusion band. I mean, he's amazing. And I said, Toshi, I got this song. It's kind of a jazz fusion thing. Could you kind of do like a Jeff Beck melody and like shred like Alan Holdsworth? And he goes, sure. And he sent me that back, and I go, this is brilliant. I love it. He nailed it. So he's a co-writer on that song with me.
Fantastic tune.
Nice melody work.
Great song, man. I love it. That's basically my kind of music nowadays. I like to zone out.
Well, Jeff Beck is my favorite guitar player,
Yep.
hands down. It's about nobody makes guitar sound like him. He comes out with the most unusual sounds and melodies, and I mean the stuff he did with George Martin.
Yep.
I see him every time he comes to town if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Just he's the guy. So you'll hear that influence on a couple songs.
Right.
The solo and Giving Up the Ghost is the same kind of vibe. But one thing in that song that I wanted to point out, I did on purpose.
Okay.
The bridge
right.
is my homage to King Crimson 1969.
Awesome.
I've got baritone sax, mellotron, emo, all these weird sounds. And it's only like, I don't know, a minute maybe.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And then it totally gets really spacey and dreamy.
It's great.
It's
surreal.
Yeah, I'm glad you appreciate it, man. That's great.
I love it, man. My favorite song by Jeff Beck is Diamond Dust. Have you heard Diamond
Dust?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I love that kind of, mellow spaciness, you know.
Me too. But you know what? I love when I was a kid, oddly enough, another influential bass player for me was Ron Wood, who's a
Ron
guitar
Wood.
player with
Yeah.
Stones.
Yeah.
Man, he's a kick-ass bass player when he was
I did
playing with
not
Jeff
know
Beck.
that. Huh.
Yeah, the first two Jeff Beck records, he's the bass player.
Really?
And yeah, like that second one, he has a song called Rice Pudding.
Yep.
The bass is just, he's playing it through like Marshalls, like a guitar, and
Yeah.
that's when I first learned about aggressive bass tone.
Mhm.
Well, and Jack Bruce too.
Hmm.
I don't know if I told you my Jack Bruce story.
I heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
so you
go
know
ahead.
about
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, the very first, I only play bass because the neighborhood kids said, "Hey, you play guitar a little bit." I go, "Yeah,"
Right.
and they go, "You want to play bass?" And I said,
Right.
4 strings, right? So I got a bass, but I loved Cream, so I got a bass like his,
Yep.
which was a Gibson EV3, and then cut to me being on tour with Vanilla Fudge,
Hmm.
and the opening act's bass player inherited millions of dollars and had a music equipment room at his house,
Hmm.
and he had the same bass that he got the bass that Jack Bruce cut
Hmm.
Sunshine Your Love on, and that's the first song I ever learned, and I got to play the bass, which is total full circle. That's a fun little anecdotal story as far as basses go.
Have you met Jack? I had him on the show. I
Man,
did.
I wish. I did read his book.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. I love the lyrics.
He's a funny guy too. He was a funny
was
guy.
he? Oh.
Yeah, he was. He was
Oh,
really
man.
cool. Very cool guy. And a lot of people don't realize it, but most of the songs on Cream, he wrote it. He wrote most of the songs.
Except for the old. When I was a kid, I thought
Yeah.
even the old blues tunes,
Right.
like Born Under Bad Side, I thought it was their song. I didn't
Yep.
realize
Right.
that they're covering an old blues tune. But yeah, Tales of Brave Ulysses and White
Mhm.
Room, and those songs are brilliant. The lyrics
Yeah.
are brilliant. The playing, but that's how I got into playing bass. My first gig, we would do like 25 minutes of spoonful, and that's how I learned improvisational playing. I never took a lesson in my life.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
play from what I feel.
See, I admire that more than anything. Yeah, it's not easy, to just play by ear and pick things up like that. It really isn't.
And playing off of each other. When I did a record with Carmine Appice.
Yeah, I love
Pat
Carmine.
Travers.
Yeah.
Pat Travers. I did half of it. Tony Franklin's younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we were in rehearsal together, I felt like as close as I could ever feel to being in Cream.
Hmm.
I've always wanted to record a Cream
Power
song.
Trio.
Yeah, but I mean, when Pat Travers would take a solo, even in rehearsal, it was like the last solo he was ever going to take the rest of his life.
Yeah.
I mean, he meant every note, every time, and he's
Yep.
amazing. And Carmine's jamming.
Yep.
And I've always wanted to record a Cream song since the beginning. That was the band that got me kind of going.
Yeah.
And we did Politician.
Yeah.
And it's on a record called Bazooka.
Yep.
And the bass is very in your face.
Hmm.
And I'm really, really proud of that one. If I want to show somebody, yeah, I can jam, check this out, I'll show them that. So anyway.
How cool was that though to play with those guys, huh?
Amazing. Are you kidding me? I mean, I wish we would have been a band. We did that record, and then we did some video instructional thing together, and that was, everybody. Pat's in Florida. Now Carmine's back on the East Coast again.
Yeah.
And I've known him a lot. I've done a bunch of different things with him.
Yeah, I've had Carmine on the show many times, and Vinny, and I just had Pat on not long ago, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pat's great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm in Florida too. We're probably about an hour away from each other.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been to Florida so many times that I can't even tell you since I started touring. I started touring in 1985, and I was blessed that my first tour ever. How many people can say, well, my first tour ever was 2 sold-out arena tours. I opened up for Deep Purple. It's a reunion tour. It was sold out, and then we jumped onto the Foreigner tour.
Yeah.
Which they had the song I Want to Know What Love Is, which was #1 in the country. So that was sold out. The good thing about that tour was that the audience changed from 20% female to 80% female. So, so playing for Foreigner was great.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, the Deep Purple crowd, man, we did our hit, Jafria, we had a hit called Call Your Heart.
Yeah.
Those guys, I mean, people stand up going, F you! I got hit with a Bic lighter. I remember that.
Was Richie on that tour?
Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah, he castrated us the most he could do. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, The Weight of Silence, you end the album with that. That's a fantastic piece of music. Of course, um, Derek's on that from Dream Theater. I know he's been on a lot of other bands, but I always mention Dream Theater. That's a great prog track, by the way, The Weight of Silence. That's
Yeah, you know what? I
definitely
think
prog.
it's different in that it
Yeah.
has a real strong Spanish influence to it,
Yep.
and a fusion influence, and a Pink Floyd
Yeah.
influence.
Yeah. The album is incredible, man. I can't
Thank
give
you.
it enough kudos because I love it. It's my
What was
favorite
your
album to
quote?
date.
You're going to send me a quote. Don't forget.
I'm going to send you a quote. I definitely
I'm
will
going to
send you
use
a
it
quote.
too.
Definitely.
I got to get the word. It's all I wanted. Like I said, I just want people to hear it. Let's get the word out.
Exactly. Now, what about touring? Are you gonna tour this album or what?
Well, that everybody asks that.
Yeah.
The thing is you've heard the whole album, so for me to envision a tour behind this album, I would need Roger Waters' budget. I just saw Paul McCartney. Whatever he spent on that, I need that. Because I imagine it being completely immersive, like a Pink Floydian experience, and with all the musicians on there, I need a lot of players it's acoustic guitars, there's a couple electric guitars, there's multiple keyboards, I have violin. It's like, so I can't imagine without having, some like whoever, Bezos or somebody comes along and goes, hey man, I love your album. You want $5 million to go do your tour? Whatever. But a streamlined version, I could pull off a few songs off this album and maybe combine it with some other things. There's a lot of music out there that I've done. I had a project called Odd Man Out with Lanny and Pat Torpy, like the 1999, 2000, and a thing called Magdalene, and a project called Chaos is the Poetry. It's really musical. I was a writer on that stuff, and if I combine some of that and maybe something from House of Lords, I don't know if it would work or not, but that could possibly work. But to pull this album off,
that would be great. That would be great.
It would be a great thing.
Yeah.
Nobody would be bored.
No. Well, with an all-star cast too, bring in all your buddies,
if I could, I would,
Yeah.
it would be a fantastic, an amazing thing for
the big screen behind you, like Pink Floyd, the round.
Yeah. I actually did a tour. I one of my highlights of my life, speaking of big production tours, I did a tour called the Flashback Tour that unfortunately was in 2008. Right, we were just getting started playing arenas. We had bigger production than Pink Floyd. Actually, we had 3 of those big round screens.
Really? Wow.
Lasers and I mean, it was and we had a full orchestra, female orchestra, that were mostly European girls, and a killer band. 2 of the guys are from the I forgot it, the Queen. They're from England. The Queen. We Will Rock You show. Amazing players. But we had all that going on, but the economic crash happened.
Yeah.
And we had financing and all that. I went
out
the door with everybody losing their ass in the stock
market.
market.
It's tough. So
that thing ended, and I was living. You talk about living the real dream. That for me, that was it.
Yeah.
Being a part of a show like that. The closest thing is touring with Alice Cooper was a big production show, which I loved being a part of too.
Yeah.
But this was like 3 times that size as far as production goes. Yeah.
Huh. Have you ever played the Chapman stick? Tony Levin is a cool bassist.
Dude, you know what? I stopped at 4 strings. I'm sorry. People go, don't you play 5 string? And I go, all of my heroes. If I need a 5th string to be, no. So I did have one, but I really hated the way it felt and played. So if I need to play super low like that, like recording, I just tune my bass properly.
Right.
For that. But and same thing with stand-up bass. I had a friend of mine, this girl's a great stand-up rockabilly bass player.
Yeah.
We talked about trading, like I'll teach you how to do electric bass if you teach me how to do stand-up. One lesson on that thing, and I go, forget it. I don't want to carry this thing around. Plus just one note in the middle of the neck is like this far. Yeah. And then it gets like this tight up here. It's like, I don't know. Yeah. I hand it to all of them that do that. Yeah. It's fantastic. I do play fretless. I love playing fretless bass because for me, it has a lot more expression to it. Pino is one of my favorite bass players, most melodic. you've heard him on Sunset Grill and
Yeah, yeah.
Paul Young and Eurythmics and on and on and on. And the expressiveness you get out of a fretless, there's more to it than
Hmm.
a fretted bass.
I always loved Chuck, Chris Squire, Jimmy Dewar from Robin Trower,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and of
Well,
course,
he's underrated for sure.
oh yeah, definitely, and of course John Paul Jones.
Well,
he's
he's
actually
part of my
underrated.
he's
In a
part of my
way.
J list.
Yeah,
My J influence bass players: Jack Bruce, John Paul Jones, John Entwistle,
he's done
Jaco
so much.
Pastorius, Jimmy
Yeah.
Jameson, James Paul McCartney.
Yep. James Paul McCartney.
They're all in there, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I'm going to ask you a question that I ask everybody. And I get some really interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to perform or collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
oh my God. I would love to be, you know what? If I could play, yeah, my friend Rhonda is the bass player with Jeff Beck.
Yep.
If I could,
She's awesome.
if I could get into her
Yeah.
high heels, you know, I mean, if I could play with Vinny Cayuta, who's my favorite drummer,
Right.
and with Jeff Beck, who's my favorite guitar player,
Okay.
that would be a dream come true for me.
Hmm.
You know, and I love that music, and I would totally love that. Now, I also love Sting a lot, but he's a bass
Hmm.
player, so
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
I can't be him. But I would love to play with Jeff Beck, or I would love to be in a show like Pink Floyd again. You know, do a big production show like that. There's some great bass features in that music too.
Yeah.
Just off the top of my head, you know, I mean, of course, people that aren't with us, I'd love to be like do the Are You Experienced era with Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. Those guys are great, weren't they?
Yeah, it was what a great
Yeah.
thing, you know. I mean, that's when I was growing up was
Hmm.
Hendrix and Cream and the Doors. And,
Me too. We grew up in the
you know, so
60s.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, when we're first being exposed to music, it was,
Exactly.
the era was the late 60s through the 70s. You know,
Yep.
that was the best music.
Exactly.
It's still to this day. I don't think
Yep.
we'll ever get there again because
Impossible.
everything else is it's like
Yep.
producer driven, where they just I can just cut this together. Give me 4 bars of guitar and I'll make a whole
That's
song
it.
out of it. It's like,
Yeah. I
you know,
agree with
you
you.
might find some gems here and there. I mean,
Yep.
but the big daunting task for me and for any artist doing their own thing is there's 60,000 songs released
Hmm.
a day. And how do you rise above that? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
that's because anybody can put up whatever they want on
Yep.
Spotify and put it out there or do a YouTube. And so you're up against all that. So it's people like you coming on board that like something,
Hmm.
want to talk about it,
Yeah.
help, you know, help get the word out.
Sure.
And that's all I can hope for, you know.
I bring a lot of new music to the forefront, and especially I go overseas to get these guys. I listen to Prague Station, Morrow.com, and when I hear somebody I really like, I contact them right away. So I've had guys recently from Russia, Germany, from Norway, great bands from all those areas. Because nobody notices them, especially in the United States.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I was talking to Brian, who's the president of Cleopatra, and he now has Magna Carta.
I love Cleopatra. Thank you,
Yeah.
Cleopatra, for doing what you're doing
Well,
too.
You know what? And he's let me do whatever, and that's
right.
But he has Magna Carta now.
Right.
I guess he purchased that label, which is a Prague label.
Yep.
He told me that Prague fans are the most loyal fans.
They are.
They're totally into the music. It's not a fad. They're very loyal fans.
Yep.
And so I've toyed with, maybe the next time I do a record, it's just going to be just geared for, I won't call it Chuck Wright's thing. It'll be like a band thing and just a prog kind of thing. One of my, you have these little pipe dreams going on here and there. I wanted to do a Broadway style show based on post-apocalyptic vibe story using prog songs like 21st Century Schizoid Man, Genesis, Get 'Em Out by Friday.
Wow, that would be
songs that all
crazy.
tell the story.
Yeah.
That you could actually take the lyrics and build a story around it and have dialogue in between that kind of create an Orwellian future story out of a prog, and then just
that'd be
all the prog fans would come out for that.
So awesome, man.
Yeah, it
You
could
know
be
what?
really good, especially if you have a killer band,
Yeah,
like all the best guys, Mark
yeah,
Lemeneman on drums or something, just
exactly.
really great, really great players, and the right
Hmm.
voices. I think that's an idea I've toyed with, but again, those kind of things you need to, seed money, and you need to really develop it, but I think that could work.
I think it could work. You know what song? It's not a prog song, but you know what song really hits home to war and what's going on, and it always does, is War Pigs, Black Sabbath. Oh my
Oh,
God, it's
you want to
perfect, isn't
you want to have your
it?
mind blown. You want to hear a completely crazy take of War Pigs
Okay.
after we finish.
Yep.
Remember Magdalene,
Magdalene.
okay?
Yeah. Okay.
War Pigs. It's a version I did with
Right.
Lanny Cordola. That's, if you can imagine, Sade, Sting, and Marvin Gaye getting together and doing War Pigs.
Wow, what a mixture.
I no, you have no idea and it starts off with like famous speeches like FDR, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
and Hitler, and then it gets into the song, and it's really moody, and it's all organic, real instruments. It's not
Huh.
like samples. Like we have a real doo-doo player, a real cello. It's a very cool version of it, but the vocal on it sounds like Marvin Gaye. It's like
Wow.
this totally. It's a trip, man. So if you talk about that song, you're right. War
Yeah.
Pigs is perfect. Perfect
Is it
song.
right?
In fact, we in our benefit for Ukraine, that was one of the
Right.
songs I made
Is,
sure was played.
is it on YouTube? Can I find it?
You can YouTube it, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, definitely.
Magdelen. There's a couple Magdalens, but that Magdalene War Pigs, there's only gonna be one.
I'm gonna
The
put it on my
cover's got
site.
like a hand
Yeah.
sticking up, and there's a moon. I mean, the Earth. It's
Right.
coming out of the moon. I did that CD package back. That was one of my first ones
Really?
that I ever did. Yeah, I've done like, I don't know, over
Huh.
200. In the 90s, I was working for 3 labels also.
Yeah.
The 90s was weird because like the 80s rock bands were not happening anymore. It was like all this grungy thing. And so I got into different experimental. That's why I was co-producing a couple reggae records and doing a bunch of different styles of music.
You became a musician. I became a DJ. I was a top 40 DJ back in the late 70s.
Oh,
I went to broadcasting school with CBS, and
yeah, but that's before you had to just play you could pick your songs once in a while, right?
yeah, every once in a while we had a playlist, but I always went off the playlist. They were
Yeah,
okay with it.
music
Yeah.
director. But I mean, I went into places where I go, "Can you play our CD?" No, we don't have a CD player. It's just,
Yeah.
it's like, it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Marky
They call
Ramone.
that-
Marky Ramone got mad at me. He says, "Why didn't you play any Ramones?" I said, "It wasn't on the playlist."
Well, you know what? And I think they took and I swear by this, by taking the DJ out of the equation,
Yeah.
because DJs are audiophiles. They
Yep.
listen to everything, right?
Everything. Yeah, that's
And
right.
when corporate took them out of the equation, here's a quick story. The song "To Be With You" by Mr. Big would have never been a hit if it
Yep.
wasn't for the fact that this one DJ played it, and he got amazing phones on it. So
Yep.
the other stations in the area go, "Oh, your top phones are that song?"
Yep.
And so they started playing it. "Oh, your top phones are that song?" And it grew from there. If
Yep.
that guy didn't pick that song and just play it to get the response it did, it's that I think hurt music
Yeah.
a lot, because they took that out of the equation.
Well, they took A&R guys also.
Yeah.
A&R guys were so important. Baker Street, the song Baker Street, right?
Sure.
That would have never got on if it wasn't for a special A&R guy, because they thought it was too long. You know who that A&R guy was?
No.
Mark Lindsay from Paul Revere and the Raiders. He was an
Oh,
A&R
no
guy back then. He was responsible for Baker Street
That's
getting on the
great.
radio.
I
Yeah.
love in the Queen movie when they're arguing about doing Bohemian Rhapsody. You can't do a song like this. It's too long.
It's too long,
What's
right?
with this opera in the middle of it?
Us DJs needed bathroom songs. Hotel
I know.
California was
You know
one.
what? Yeah, whenever Stairway to Heaven came out, I go, he's going to the bathroom.
That's right. We needed those long songs, man.
Oh, I know. Right now, I would be doing one once an hour. The older you get, the more you pee.
Quick final questions, just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
What was your first 45 that you bought, and what was your first concert that you went to?
Well, let me do the first concert first, because
Okay.
that is a more interesting story.
Right.
I went to see Steppenwolf was headlining. Three Dog Night was in the middle.
Holy
and the
cow!
Grassroots.
Wow, what a
But
show!
this is what makes it interesting. the grassroots guitar player was Warren Ettner, who ended up being my manager in Quiet Riot.
How about that?
Three Dog Night, I ended up touring in that tour I was telling you about, Flashback Tour.
Yep.
Chuck Negron was one of the singers in that tour.
Yep. Yep.
So him and I, had
He's a good guy. I like Chuck. Yeah.
Huh?
He's a good guy. I like Chuck.
Yeah, he's a really good guy, and he has a ton. Talk about stories.
Oh man, did you get his book? Did you buy his book?
Yeah, the Exploding Penis.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know why you'd want to share that, but anyway,
I know.
and then the headliner, Steppenwolf, Michael Monarch, the guitar player, became a friend of mine through Frankie Benelli. Back in the day, they had a band called Monarch.
Yeah.
And my band, which was really big here in LA, called Saturn, that was my prog band.
Yeah.
We were actually the first band in rock and roll history to have a laser show, because we knew the guy that developed the technology. We would always try to get them to open because they were so freaking good, So I became friends with Michael Monarch, and that's my first concert. I had some kind of relationship with everybody, and I was maybe 14 when I saw that concert. I could have been 13, I don't know, but my mom was very cool in letting me letting me do that. And music changed my life because I was in military school for almost 9 years, and I was going to go to the Air Force Academy, but I did my first gig, and no, this is what I wanted to do, right? But in my first 45, I think it was my sister brought home a Beatle 45. And she goes, there's this clown act called the Beatles. I remember her calling them a clown act. She goes, yeah, they got these funny haircuts, but I really like the music. And she played me the record, right? And I'm a little kid, and so I got into them. And Dave Clark 5, I really liked a lot when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And I remember with my tennis racket standing on the fireplace, and I'm looking at all the shag carpets, and each one of those shags is a person. So I've got thousands of people, and I'm playing to those songs. Right? So I was envisioning my future, even then, I guess.
I still have those Beatle 45s in my brain, the orange and yellow label.
I have a box in my closet back here.
Originals? Really?
Originals. But I don't think they're kind of, most of them don't have a jacket. Yeah. And I don't know if they're even in playable condition. But I mean, all of them. I have like probably 80 Beatle original 45s.
I got a jukebox back here that plays 45s.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Under my Let's Rock sign back there.
Yeah, that's cool.
My first 45 was Purple People Eater by Sheb Woolley.
I remember that.
And The Twist, of course, with Chubby Checker.
Twist again. I got to meet him. I have a picture actually on Facebook with me with Chuck.
Chubby Checker. And my first concert was actually Jose Feliciano and Curtis Mayfield.
Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of Curtis Mayfield, Superfly I did that in a band, and it's a great
Did you really?
song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I had a band called Mojo Pin with Pat Torpey was in it. It was we called it psychedelic funk rock and soul.
Cool. Sounds like you want to get into some R&B stuff, huh? That might be an album in the future, huh?
Yeah, I could. I mean, if there's elements of that. I mean, both Jeff Scott Soto. I'm actually seeing Jeff tonight.
Are you?
Now, you know him as a Yngwie Malmsteen, Transylvanian Orchestra. Right. Tonight he's singing for Boogie Nights. Which is disco. He sings his ass off. He's the best. He's one of the best R&B singers. And Joe Retta also did Boogie Nights 20 years ago.
Right.
But he's an amazing R&B singer. I would love to do a full-on funk R&B type record. It would be a joy and fun. It's great. Obviously, it's all about the bass, right? So
it's all about the bass. You're right.
I mean, listen to Jameson on all those old Motown records,
Yeah.
So.
One of my first concerts also was in Baltimore. I'm originally from DC. I know you played with the guy from Angel. Who was from? They were from DC. Angel.
Yeah, Greg Jeffria.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of things with him.
Yeah, but with the Civic Center, I saw Rare Earth, the Funkadelics, and the Ohio Players. I was the only white guy there.
I bet.
Great concert, man. Great concert.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the energy is insane. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm going to have fun tonight. I'm going to go give him a copy of the album. So.
Is this at the Whiskey that you're going to, or?
No, it's at the Canyon Club out in Agoura.
Oh, okay, cool. Very cool.
It's a trek, but you know, I'm going to stop by my friend's winery that I play at with my music band, and then
Awesome.
I'll go there.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice day.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna send Darkness over to Jesse. Okay, for sure. I'm gonna do that as soon as we get off here. Thank you, man, for being on the show today. The album is incredible. I love it. It's got all the elements are there. I mean, you didn't miss a beat with genres on this album.
Well, but I try to keep it so it's not so different that there's kind of a thread. But yeah, thank you. You know, like I said,
love it.
It was just art for art's sake. It had nothing to do with like.
Yeah, I'm going to promote the hell out of it. So don't worry about that. I'm everywhere. Spotify, Pandora, I'm everywhere. I want to say very special thanks to Billy James, of course, of Glass Onion PR. Me and Billy go way back now. We've done tons of interviews together. He's a great guy.
He's been great getting the press releases, get some attention.
Yeah,
around the world.
Yeah, he's a good musician too. Good musician.
Yeah. I got his book too, the Grand Funk book.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Grand Funk when I was a kid. So.
Yep, he's done some stuff with Frank Zappa too. I think he's worked with him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep. And I want to mention the album, the new album from Chuck Wright, Sheltering Sky, which features, of course, a powerful new single, Throwing Stones, to help raise money for your victims in the Ukraine. It's available now on Cleopatra Records and on Amazon.com. It's out now, officially, right? It is. And you are on www.chuckwright.com. You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, and you can also go to Cleopatra Records to visit their site, and they're great company. We thank them very much.
Find the record there. Also, which I discovered yesterday, is that if you're a Prime member with Amazon, you could get the record there and not have to pay for shipping.
Awesome. Yeah, that's right.
If you want to have the hard product, the real thing in your hands,
the real thing,
like when we were kids.
Yeah.
You know, because it's cool. This is Glenn Wexler's work right here, man. He's the best in the business. So, plus it also has a listing of who played on what. But if you just get if people just get the MP3s and the downloads, you could go to chuckwright.com. I just last night put up on the new album link a list of who's on every track.
Are you going to release it on vinyl or no?
You know what? It depends on how it does.
Yeah.
You know, I know that I was talking to Glenn because he was doing a package, CD package for a band, and they wanted vinyl. That they're backed up like 9 months.
Really? Is that right?
Yeah, it's
coming back, huh?
It has been coming back pretty strong, but you can't get it made.
Yeah.
Because it's so popular, you know.
Huh.
There's not enough places to do it.
Mm-hmm. You know, me and my wife go to Cracker Barrel once in a while. I don't know. Do they have Cracker Barrel out in California?
I have a Cracker Barrel card from when I'm on tour.
Okay.
People know I'm on tour. I get a gift card for Cracker Barrel.
That's funny. But you know that little gift shop they got, they sell vinyl. You know.
Yeah, we had the Talking Bird. So yeah, we called him Pagey.
Pagey. The Talking Bird.
We'd say rude things into it. They sell vinyl in there now, right?
They sell vinyl. Yeah, they got a nice collection. As a matter of fact, it's expensive. It's not cheap. You know. Where you used to buy an album for $3.99 or whatever, now it's like $20. You know?
Well, everything's, you know, if we could go back in time and go, wow, this house is only $50,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
No,
I'll take 10 houses, please.
Get that house.
Exactly, man. Chuck, thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, man, for being on the show today. I appreciate it.
I'm glad I'm here.
Let's keep in touch. Hopefully you'll tour with this album, this incredible album, and hopefully you'll come to Florida.
Yeah, man. I'd love to be there one way or the other. I'll be there.
And if you do, maybe we'll hook up and we'll have a beer or coffee or whatever together.
Yeah, I'll look you up on Facebook and friend you, and we'll do all that.
I'm everywhere. You'll find me easy.
Okay, great.
All right, Chuck. Take care, man. Have fun tonight.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.